Hi, everyone. I completely forgot to do the too long to read for Lanham because I was just having too much fun reading your really amazing first response papers about the home places, and also your quiz questions in that discussion where I asked you to make the quiz. I mean, all of that stuff was so good that I felt like you had all given me the too long to read version. And thank you for everyone who's completed this so-called second exam so far. Blackboard should automatically give you 10 points when you complete it, but it's anonymous. So it's a little bit mysterious to me. And I couldn't look at the feedback until after the due date, but now I probably have to change the due date again. Maybe not. Let me know if you can't get into it. Your suggestions were really wonderful and I appreciate them. And I'm also horrified that people mentioned it was difficult to find the syllabus. So I went and looked I was like, wow, of course it's in the begin here. Then I couldn't find it. So maybe I emailed the syllabus. Maybe I have completely lost my marbles because my children are going to summer camp and they just constantly distract me. But in this first long module that says begin here, I have added the syllabus, and I'm so sorry if you didn't know where it was before. I will also make a checklist. I substituted the checklist for this final calendar that I also might not have pointed out exists, but I'll make a checklist too, and I will post that so everyone knows what to do to finish up. The next thing that I wanted to talk about really quickly is Binti, and I didn't give you a lot of insight or input on the home place, but in my mind, the home place, its description of landscape, and then the first person narrative about changes and family and striking out from your family really, in my mind, connects a lot to Southern literature, to many of the stories of Southern literature. And Binti, although it's African futurism, does similar things. It's someone who is breaking from the past and looking at the natural world in a very unconventional way, and who seeks knowledge and a way of being in the world that is different from the past and from tradition. Of course, we see that in Eudora Welty, and we see that in Kate Chopin, very much in Drew Lanham. And that's why I felt that Binti and African futurism connected to Southern literature, even though Okafor writes about the global South. I think the global South and the U.S. South might have some interesting comparisons. However, I made some mistakes here, and I'm not quite done finishing them. First of all, in the quiz, I didn't link the excerpt to answer the questions. And then as I looked over it, I realized that some of the questions don't continue, or some of the questions aren't in the excerpt that you have. It ends sooner than I thought it did. So basically what happens is that Haru touches Binti's hair and the world explodes, and there's an attack by this different population, these different beings called the Medjus. And I should have done a better job with this, but this is the drawing, a fan fiction drawing of what a Medjus looks like from Okafor's Catalan, it's a language in Spain, from her Catalan version of Binti. And this I really love because the concept of third fish, the vessel that she travels to the university in, really fascinates me. So here are just a couple of illustrations to help that make a little bit more sense. The reason that in the next quiz I have random references to video is because there was a really great video that gave some background about Namibia, and I think Namibia itself looks a little bit like outer space. So if you look at the landscape of Namibia, it will also help you envision the landscape in Binti. Hopefully the landscape that Drew Lanham describes in The Home Place you already know about because we live here. Although we are not in the Midlands, where I think Edgefield is. I actually drove to Edgefield just to see what the landscape was like after I read The Home Place. But these 4 questions on the quiz, the only way to know the answer to those questions is trial and error. But I think it's interesting that, for example, the Namibian Constitution protects the natural environment. So thinking about Lanham's conservationism or his love of the environment, and about the interesting environmental tones in Binti, and some important features of landscape that we see in stories like, is it called The Green Veil? Shades of Green, I don't remember. The Welty story that also fascinates me. There's lots of the landscape from Zora Neale Hurston too, when you really think about where ISIS is cutting up and causing trouble. So this is just a really typical African thing to say. It's from a video that I can't find, but like I said, this is all trial and error. Interesting information. Question 6. I tried to put the specific segments for these questions, but it just keeps taking you to the beginning of the section, which is called Nobility. And if you watch it for like 5 or 6 minutes, especially if this doesn't even show the part with Wangari. If you go to the part where they start talking about Wangari Maathai, then we are in the proper kind of close segment. Watch a few of these sections, at the most for 10 minutes, and that's where the information is for that quiz. But then there are again random questions about Namibia. So I need to correct this. Don't go to the 32-minute point in the video because it's completely bizarre. Instead, go to the 33-minute point in this video, and you get to see some images of Namibia.
Northwest Africa. One of the world's weirdest landscapes is in Namibia. A vast scrubland, pockmarked with thousands of shallow circles. Rings of grass surrounding barren soil about 5 meters across.
Okay. So
one local myth holds that these rings are the footprints of gods.
The dot up to 33.
But it's not just the locals.
So I leave you to watch that, and I need to check once again whether I still need to fix another question, because then there's this wonderful video of some Namibian women, and I think this was also not working correctly. I need to talk to a librarian about why the permalinks change. I'll fix this one too. So for those 2 quizzes, I have to go back and fix a couple of things. I think that's most of the information for this week, and I look forward to all of your thoughts and insights because they've been really wonderful. Have a good weekend and let me know what questions you have.